YouTube friends all the way around the world and back again. How are you today? I started to do a project and then realised I should just film this. But then it all kind of started to go wrong and I thought, no, I won't film it because it's not going to be a very good example. However, I've decided to give it to you anyway. So, it's all about the journals, guys. I've got 1 journal, 2 journals, 3 journals, 4 journals, 5 journals on the go, all at the same time. Do you ever get that? Do you ever have that many journals? I'll have 1 journal for this, I'll have 1 journal for that, I'll keep a journal for this and a journal for that. Well, I've got so many journals, honestly. So I thought to myself, I'll have a bit of a mix-up on this. And this is what I kind of came up with. So how could I keep all of my topics in one place without actually using a file, without using a folder that I had to then keep putting pieces of paper in? So I kind of wanted an exercisey book, journal-y kind of thing, writing paper, but all in one space. So I could have sectioned up, like most of the time I will use something like an old diary, like this one, and then I could section it up, but I don't ever section it up, that's the problem. So then I thought, okay, I need different sections for different things that I do in my life. So I bought a bunch of exercise books, and they are really cheap and flimsy. The writing paper's okay, it's just writing paper, it's really cheap and flimsy. And the covers were extra cheap and flimsy. Not like the writing books we used to get in school, that's for sure. So, I made a right bodge job of sticking them all together. So I've got 6 books here. And then I just took the cover to cover and stuck them together. And that one is actually the best one I did. That was done with glue stick. And then I thought, I wonder if I could get a better coverage if I did it with double-sided sticky tape. The answer is no, you can't. Well, I couldn't. I'm sure you could. But anyway, so I stuck all the covers together, hoping, well, it's just paper, so it's not going to make it very, and I've actually stuck the page together on that. It's not going to make it, it's still not thick enough. So I thought, okay, what am I going to do next? So I found my leaf prints that I did from last year on watercolour paper, and this is pretty sturdy. Oh, mere measurements, you know what? Well, you know what it's like. Well, I don't do measuring. Well, I do, but it all seems to go pear-shaped when I do. Mere numbers, they just don't... I don't know what it is. But I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm really rubbish when it comes to putting numbers together. As if you could get it wrong with a measuring tool. But anyway, I do. So, I decided to do a spine to put the books in. And then not thinking and just doing, because I didn't have a plan, because that's my norm, isn't it? I then thought, I should have put the cover on first before I did the spine. Logic to most people. So I put the first cover on, and I did the second cover to go on the back and cut it too small. So I've cut another one. And what I'm going to do is then put another spine, which I've prepared, over the top. And that will make it actually even sturdier, obviously. And then I shall put maybe just some, I don't know yet, on the insides. So let's see if we can get this right, because it's not even straight on the top anymore. You probably can't see that because it's just not really. But I'm okay with that bit. I probably could trim it, but I'm not going to bother. As long as I've got a sturdy cover, I may just put paper, not my cardstock, but maybe some cardstock prints. But anyway, you can see, I don't have a plan, but we're going to do this next bit. And this time, I'm using Pritt stick. because it does give you a little bit more wiggle room. So let's get to it. Okay, so I'm just going to, and it is okay because these were, I mean, they weren't a brilliant price. I wouldn't say they were, I would have said they were cheap and nasty products for a little bit expensive. Well, they weren't that expensive. I'm just waffling now because, but all I wanted was 6 little books, but I couldn't believe how cheap and nasty they were. But that's what you get these days. You don't get the quality that we used to get. And now I'm going to be off camera doing this, but I'm just trying to get this blinking page level before I squish it down. Otherwise we're going to be all wonky again on the inside. No, not completely straight, but that's okay. It's okay, people. It's okay. Now for the spine, I am going to use double-sided. And all I did was, actually I did measure it and then I scored it with my trusty. And then made it into that. And I'm going to pop that onto there. Which then does actually, I'm going to put that on the other way around. I don't know which way my book is up now. That's the front, is it? Yeah. So, despite that I've made a complete, what would be termed as a complete cock-up, I'm now going to render it, hopefully, put it right. And you know, it's only for me, so it's kind of like, it's not that I don't count, I do count, but, and the but is, it's only for me. So I'm just going to double sticky tape this down. Honestly, when I do projects, I do sometimes wonder how the hell I could get it so wrong. But my brain just doesn't seem to compute with measuring. It never has. I've kind of accepted it at one point, but sometimes it really does frustrate me. Maybe that's called dyslexic, numerical dyslexia, I don't know. Whatever. It is what it is. So I'm going to have that bit there. So you could get yourself 6 little writing books, but in the UK, I can honestly say to you, I think these were £3.49 or £3.50, free postage and packaging. And I'm telling you guys, they're not, let me just line this up, I don't know whether I'm on camera. They're not brilliant. Well, serve a purpose, but I kind of had an image in my head of how thick they would be, I guess, because like when I was at school, we had these exercise books. See, I'm giving my age away now. That it was, they were a lot thicker. They were a lot thicker. You don't know how blessed you are until you do stuff like this. They were a lot thicker, indeed. But anyway, this will kind of work for me, I am hoping. Well, it can't be any worse than not, right? So I can just keep all my thoughts in one space instead of having a journal for journaling and a journal for crafting and a journal for like 700 journals. Not that many, but you know what I mean. I'll get this up now. I don't know whether you're the same. Let me know in the comments, how many journals have you got on the go for all these different lovely topics that we like to do. Wish now that would have been the front, but it's not, it's the back, because I prefer that print. But anyway, I can't change it now. You see, it should teach me that I should learn from these, that I need a plan before I start executing these little projects out. I should think them out more, shouldn't I really? I've always been, you know, aren't you like that? I just live, I'm on the fly all the time, as they say. Do things as I go. And my newest lovely saying, which eases me into the day, I trust the pathway that unfolds before me. because I totally believe that whatever's meant to be is meant to be, right? Okay, so that's the front and the back done now. That's better. It is a lot sturdier. And then maybe, because again, it wasn't even stapled straight. I did think, you know, what I could have done was open up each book to the middle, take the staples out. Look, it's not even stapled straight. And then maybe restapled them. Look, it's too late to think about stuff like that now. But I always do think about stuff after the event. So I could, you see that page has now come out of there because that's staple. I might have to glue that page to that page. Oh, who knows? Because they're so flimsy. I might even end up sewing this in, to be honest, I think. You see, there's another thought, isn't it? Let's take the pages out. And then I can sew the pages back in, right? Maybe. Oh, I'm just thinking as I go, let's just take these out. Let's try 1A. Who knows what's going to happen? Yeah. Because I find that you see, that's how flimsy the covers were. And whoever stapled this is as bad as me not getting it accurate. I think they might have been done, you know, cheap on the fly. Maybe before I do that, how many of these have I got? 1, 2, 3 and a half. 1, 2, no, I need more than that. So I can't use that. However, maybe if I cover the inside. Let me have a super duper think about this. I'm going away to have a think and then I'm coming back when I've got my thoughts together. After some major deliberation and some major wrong measuring and glue sticks not working and all of that, I've decided to do wet glue. I managed to go and get some, I've got a big, I'll finish the sentence, wallpaper that I was gifted, a whole wagon load, as they say. So I've just cut some wallpaper out and now I'm just going to cover the inside. And then I've decided to, what I've decided to do is then not staple or stitch or whatever. I'm just going to elastic band the pages back in so I can then add more or take away or whatever. Let's spread this lovely bit out. I even tried taking the glue sticks apart because they were just rubbish. But that's what you get for buying cheap stuff, eh? Okay. Buy rubbish. You get rubbish. But nothing, a little bit of wet glue, and as this is wallpaper, it's pretty forgiving, she says. That might not be true as I stick this together. But it is wallpaper. Wallpaper's pretty, it is pretty forgiving. So this time I'm going to stick it in the middle first because my pages are all so wonky. And then sort of bring the page up. This is how not to do it, guys. I'm sure that if anybody's out there watching this, you're cringing with, why didn't you just do? Or why didn't you just do? Well, how come you just didn't do it this way? Well, because I've done it this way, right? So this is the way it is. I'm sure there's a much simpler way, and there probably would have been if I'd have thought about how I wanted this to work out, but I didn't think about it. I'm just doing it on the fly, as we said earlier. Okay. I probably didn't need to faff it at all and not even use those book covers. I could have just made a binder, couldn't I? So, there's my cover. I need a bit of glue in there. Maybe a lot, actually. It'll all come good in the end, is what I say. Right, so those are the insides now, which are pretty sturdy. So those are act as my dividers. So wallpaper is the way to go. Not quite creased where I want it to there. So then giving me quite a few pages. So here are the inserts. And I took the staples out, but I might re-staple these actually, because they look a bit, are they all wonky? No, it's just this one. So in here now, those will fit, I say perfectly, they won't hang over the edge, but that's because it's just the way it is, because thickness is now taken over. So I'm going to go and get some elastic bands. Internal, you could use wallpaper, or you could use what's the word? Scrapbook paper. But I kind of like this idea now. I'm with it. So I'm just going to open the middle of this one and put another elastic band on. And I guess if I sewed it in, if I was to sew this in, it probably would keep it closer to the middle, you know, pull it in a little bit. And it wouldn't stick, oh, it doesn't stick out the edges, it's fine. Great. So a disaster that went wrong has now come good together. You see, you can't get it wrong in crafting. I do know that you have to stretch these elastic bands. These are from, I think the company's called Tiger. Anyway, they're the Danish company, but you do have to stretch their elastic bands before you use them because they're quite tight. And they don't stretch. I mean, they do stretch. Right, that's one. So now I have a place to put 6 different topics all in one space, so I don't have to keep changing or picking up a different journal, or when I'm out and I'm journaling ideas or journaling generally, thoughts, feelings, whatever, I can just take one book with me now rather than 10, or not have one with me that I want to write a separate thing in. I don't know whether you find that, you know, do you find that you use a journal for lots of different things, and you've got a journal, as I said at the beginning, you've got a journal for every which way but loose. Okay, I'm actually quite happy with that. In fact, I'm very happy with that now, it's really sturdy. So there's the cover, the spine, and I guess I could put something, I don't know, I could add, couldn't I, to the centre of these now. If I wanted to add plain in the middle, I could add to this, she says. Grabbing a piece of, I haven't got any, but you know what I mean, because these are loose now, so I could add plain if I wanted plain. And if you wanted to, take the staples out of each set, and then you could add other plain bits in between, so you've got plain and writing. If you like me, drawing scribbles doesn't work on plain paper. I think I might have glued some of these pages accidentally on the edges. So there we have it. I'm liking that a lot. It's not quite straight, it's not quite, you know, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. It's my journal. The back cover is not quite, see, but that's okay because it's my journal. The fact that I've used my prints up is great. You could decorate this a little bit more if you wanted to. But I've now got 6 sections quite clearly defined by these dividers that were part and parcel of my design. See, that one's not even straight. That's okay. You could put edges on you, couldn't you? We could do, actually, we could, couldn't we? Use the opposite thing to define what's in there. You know, a tab. That's the word I'm looking for. I'm not going to do one because I might end up changing my mind, but just for instance, you could write your fiddly-do on there. And fiddly-do is the technical term for whatever you're using that section for. And you could write your section on there, or tab it that way, there, and have your section at the top, or have your section at the side. So then you've got all your sections down there. And you could just staple those on, but I'm happy with this. So now I've got a journal that can well, happy-ish with this, let's say. Just cut that yellow off. That you can have all your topics in one place. Actually, if you've got 6 subjects that you're studying, or you're at school, going back to school or at school, or you know, one of your kids has got 6 things that they have to, 6 lessons they have to go to, instead of carrying all those books, you could just carry one, and then you've got everything in the same place. And some wallpaper's pretty tough going, isn't it? I could varnish this. I'm not going to at this point of the journey, but I do like it. I've come to terms with my mistakes. There we go, my friends. That's all there is to it. 6 books in one. As I say, not very straight and not, you know, it's not greatly done, but it's mine and I like it. And I've separated all that up, and that's so much easier. That's no more actually than carrying a diary or just a little bit more homemade and with it. It's no thicker than a book to carry in your bag. And you could write on it, or you could journal on it, or something. Anyway, so until the next time, namaste.